It's finally here. The second trailer for Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire has arrived. And even with all the leaks going around, there are still some surprises in store for us. So let's break it down to see what's new in trailer number 2. We begin in what appears to be a Hollow Earth entry point in Egypt near a large pyramid. We saw this in the initial trailer, but now there's a voiceover from Eileen Andrews with some interesting information, as she states that for centuries there was harmony. The Titans were the guardians of nature, and the great apes became the protectors of humanity. And we've seen this in the roles of both Kong and Godzilla. It was Kong and his family that were the only thing standing in between the Iwi tribe on Skull Island and certain death, by keeping the numbers of aggressive super species like the skull crawlers in check. While Godzilla, on the other hand, has been more concerned with the other Titans on the planet and their roles in providing a healthy environment. Up to now, he's been tolerating mankind, though this relationship has become strained due to their involvement in freeing the Titans in King of the Monsters, and then again in creating Mechagodzilla. Dr. Chen, with her ties to Mothra, spoke of this uneasy alliance in the past when Stanton said that he's glad Godzilla is on our side, with her only reply being, "For now." Adam Wingard recently stated that Godzilla will go through many stages for the film, and we see some of them right away in the trailer. First, we see the Big G as he plows through some surface waves while his spines are glowing a brilliant blue, which then changes to a shot of him, now lit up in pink, as he pushes up a river, smashing through a set of bridges full of people, and then submerging, showing off a menacing look. We then see Kong reaching out to Gia down in the Hollow Earth like he did with her on the cargo ship in GVK, while large green crystals can be seen in the background. And then we learn that something is off with Gia. She's in a classroom. It looks to me like she's in a dream, like when you nod off and then wake up, but the waking up was part of the dream, as the shot still has a clouded quality to it, while all around her, feathers or maybe even webbing floats to the ground, and the clock reads 1313, reading past 1 in military time until the numbers change into what looks like a group of pyramids that will show up again later. 1313 may also be a reference to the angel number, which is seen during hard times, with guardian angels telling the person that things will work out and that they are on the right path. The reference is biblical, and Mothra often represents divinity in its universe or era. Godzilla and Kong clash later in the trailer, and these visions or dreams could be guiding Gia to wake Mothra to convince the two to work together, like she did in the Showa era with Rodan and Godzilla, to fight King Ghidorah. There's a flash, and suddenly we may be looking at a vision that she's receiving. We get an image of her in the Hollow Earth holding up her arm as smoke or steam drifts off of it, and then we flash to a close-up of her eye, and there's a reflection in it. It's either Mothra or the glowing eyes of Shimo. Next, we see Godzilla in what could be one of his new stages or forms, as he's glowing blue, charging up an atomic pulse, but we can see that now he's glowing from ripples all over his body, not just from the spines and from his head. There are lightning bolts emanating from him, and you can see drones attacking him, which show up again later on in the trailer. As to why some group of humans is attacking Godzilla, I'm not sure yet, but it looks to me like we may have an enraged Godzilla again, like we saw with Apex in GVK. Next up is a frame of what looks to be the blast of that pulse going off, though I believe this is a pulse or breath attack from Shimo, as you can see its clear crystal spines in the blast as it goes off. This is followed up with a view from above the city looking down on the battle, showing the aftermath of what I believe is Shimo's attack. In the upper right corner, we see a pink Godzilla half encased in ice, with an icy Shimo curled up around him. And in the center of the image is a large icy looking explosion, with the Scar King falling back, and what looks to me to be Suko, the mini Kong, tumbling back with its legs over its head, though it could be Kong, making him look smaller to me. We then see the eyes of the Scar King as they fade into the eyes of Shimo, with 3 pyramid shapes in the foreground, possibly referring to the Hollow Earth entrance from before. Gia is then awoken from a dream where she tells Eileen that something is wrong with her. Meanwhile, Monarch has discovered a signal, one felt not only by Gia, but by Kong and by Godzilla, and he's not happy, showing us a leaner G teeming with blue atomic energy. Something is coming, something even they are afraid of. So now Steven Randa and Bernie can be seen in a new high-tech flying craft as they enter the Hollow Earth with Kong that we saw in that first trailer, going down into the ocean right off of the coast. Now down below we see Suko, and then a shot of Dan with his hands on some kind of green membrane, a possible Mothra egg, with his touch triggering some kind of enveloping blue atomic energy. We then see that Suko has led Kong back to Scar King's chamber, which is packed with his army of ape titans. Kong approaches them when Scar King appears from above and jumps down to confront this new intruder. The two clash, and Kong swings his axe, only for it to be blocked by Scar's whip/weapon. They pull away, and Scar wraps the whip around Kong's arm and then pulls it off, possibly shredding his arm with the action as Kong screams in pain. And then from behind what looks to be a waterfall of lava, we see Shimo's eyes, and it attacks, blasting Kong with its frostbite blast as the king uses his axe to try to absorb the attack, which appears to be working, though we don't get to see the axe charged up. Kong and Godzilla are now charging together towards the camera, and I notice here that Godzilla is glowing pink, yet his spines appear to be crystallish like Shimo's. And I mention this because they'll change later on. A rolling ocean wave begins to freeze, and then we're taken to Rio de Janeiro, where from the view of the enormous statue Christ the Redeemer, we see that the ocean is turbulent and possibly freezing, as an ice beam shoots out of the water and up into the sky. Is this a shot aimed from the water at a flying target like Mothra, or is this a blast from the clouds raining down below? We then see Bernie and Eileen, who are in a Hollow Earth temple with the descendant of the Iwi, which is followed up with a battle between Godzilla and Kong, as Kong tries to convince the Big G to help them, as Godzilla blasts through a pyramid while the gloved Kong barely escapes. We then have another voiceover, where Dan says they don't have to like each other, they just have to work together, giving us the buddy cop dynamic that Wingard has mentioned. And then we see Kong, in the city from before, charging at the Scar King and punching him in the face with his ungloved hand, as an enormous tooth comically comes crashing down onto the ground. Though this could be editing trickery, as we've seen images of Kong with a metal tooth replacement, so that could be from him. We then get a longer look at those drones as they attack a pulsing blue Godzilla, which is followed by the Iwi, who are possibly waking Mothra. And then there's Suko, now on Kong's side, as he tosses a rock at one of the Scar King's attacking apes. We then finally get a better look at Kong's new beast glove, sparking as it locks into place, which according to its toy, stands for Bio-Enhanced Anatomech Seismic Thunder, with thunder being a possible hint at Kong finally gaining the electrical attack seen by his Showa iteration. The Scar King then uses Whipslash, a whip made from the bones of a dead titan, to tear the top off a building, then using it to toss at Kong as he punches it to pieces with the glove giving off an electric charge. Which brings us to the final images, with Godzilla and Kong roaring in victory in the desert. And it should be noted that Godzilla once again looks different here, still in pink, though now those crystal-like scales have been changed into something more like his own natural spines, with some of the pink fading now to white and the tail ending in an aggressive Thagomizer. In GBK we had a pissed off Godzilla for most of the film, and it looks like that attitude of his will carry over into the new Empire. He still apparently can't fully trust mankind, and even though he saved his life, he's not sure about Kong yet either, which is understandable given the war that existed for ages between their species. But with Adam Wingard comparing the two to Riggs and Murtaugh of Lethal Weapon, it looks like Kong will win Godzilla over by the film's end. What are your thoughts on the new trailer? Let's discuss down below. And as always, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.